hello there and welcome back to this F1 2020 My Team Career Mode as we brought back the little Minardi team into F1 after a period of about 15-16 years out of the sport. But round 12 of 16 and we're at the Italian Grand Prix, the team's home event. So here's just the weather then. It's going to be changing over the weekend. You can see there straight away it's going to be light rain conditions, I believe, in FP3, which is a bit disappointing. We've got some overcast conditions in FP1. The sun tries to break through in FP2. But qualifying in a race is expected to be nice and sunny. So some messages in. Performance comparison, which we're going to have a look at in a minute on the R&D screen. Next year's regulations. Okay, Alex, Nick, some important information for you too. Looks like we're probably going to have some regulation changes next year. We think this will affect multiple departments, but we aren't yet sure which ones. Be cautious when it comes to investing in upgrades, as we may have to start adapting them for next year if and when these changes are confirmed. The weather forecast, you can see there, a little bit of cloud towards the end of the race, won't change anything too much, nice and sunny everywhere else, and the weekend preview about the circuit as well. So next year's regulations, this has been in the last couple of games now, basically get towards the end of the season. It's only a 16 race season, so I'm not too sure when it's going to come into effect, and essentially the FIA turn around and say, right, certain developments or certain aspects of a car are going to be made illegal from next year. So for example, let's say if they decide that everything in the chassis department has to be changed around, all the icons that we've done, all the upgrades we've done in that department will therefore be illegal at the end of the season. And I assume anyway, as it has been the last couple of games, we'd have to spend 50% of the original cost to redevelop those parts to make them legal for the next season. So we haven't done a lot of upgrades so far this season, so I'm pretty sure we'll be okay. And we've already got just over 2,000 resource points, but we'll have to wait and see when that comes in and what departments it affects. So the rivalry with Daniel Ricciardo then, halfway through this, we're 4 behind, struggling a little bit, I think, to defeat Ricciardo. It's going to be quite difficult to do. So the R&D then, at the end of the previous episode, you would have seen that the 2 chassis upgrades have come in, which have helped just a little bit with us. The next ones we've got another minor or a couple of major ones that we can do, but they're going to take quite a while to do and cost quite a bit of money. Nothing else done since then. So we've got nothing on the go at the moment, nothing in the workstation or the headquarters back at home. And the progress history event coming into Italy, nothing from the big 3, nothing from the top 4 teams actually, including Racing Point in that. McLaren have had a bit of an upgrade, a little one for Renault and another one for Haas as well. Nothing from Williams, so we have bridged a bit of a noticeable gap there between ourselves and Williams, still quite a long way behind Haas. But then from, you look at Racing Point to Haas, so the 4th to the 9th best teams, it's very, very close. Very, very close. So if we can slowly creep up to the back of that midfield, maybe by the end of this season or pre-season going into season 2, then maybe we'll see a bit more of a competitive car from us. But at the moment, it's definitely us and Williams languishing at the back. So for the units then, FP1, we will put on, to be honest, these ones are really starting to struggle a little bit. So I think what we'll do, we'll go for units number 2 across the board, and we'll carry these into FP1, maybe FP2 as well. I'm not too sure what we're going to do in terms of FP3 because it's going to be wet, so it could be a case of we have to put on our big powerful units, units number 3s and 4s for FP2 and do some dry running there, and then skip FP3 if it's going to be fully wet. No point going out there and wasting time gaining a handful of resource points but adding quite a lot of wear to our units in a wet session when we know we don't need any wet running. Qualifying in a race is going to be dry. Gearbox, practice gearbox, 18%, probably order a new one at the end of this weekend. New event gearbox as well. We completed 2 of the 6 race weekends, 10%, so good wear now on the gearbox. So we've put on some slightly older units for FP1. We'll get out on circuit and pump some laps, try and get a few practice programs done as well. We've got a new livery, which I'll show you probably if FP3 is going to be fully wet, and I can't tell at this stage. So it might be a case of FP1 I'll do off camera, of course, give you an update at the end of that session. And then FP2, I'll show you the car on track and a couple of practice programs if we are going to be skipping FP3. So I'll do FP1 off camera and I'll be back with you guys and I'll give you a roundup at the end of that session. So FP1 ends, Hamilton fastest 22.508, 3 tenths ahead of Bottas and Vettel. We ended the session, I believe, in 19th or 20th. It was in 20th place, a tenth ahead of Latifi, 3.5 tenths ahead of Russell, just behind Nick De Vries. He was on the hard tyres as well, so maybe he, with the recent upgrades to him, I should say, and the training for him, he's got a little bit better. We are expected to be towards the back. Certainly in that first session, we managed to do the track acclimatisation, the tyre management and the fuel management programs all in purple. So we've made a good start already. We was obviously using some older units. I'm not going to be running at all in FP3. I've already checked the weather. It's going to be wet weather throughout the 30-minute session. So we'll show you some footage in, I suppose, from FP2. And you can have a look at the new car as well. Very nice it looks as well. As for FP1 for myself, yeah, just going through the motions really, just trying to clock up them resource points. I started with a very a setup very low on the wings, and I've sort of been bumping them up a little bit more and more just to find a decent balance. I think I've got a decent balance. Obviously the speed isn't there with the old units, but it's still being a good FP1, mainly resource points, getting them in on the board as well before some new developments. So we'll move forward to FP2 and I'll see you guys in the garage. So Nick De Vries comes out of the garage to show off our new livery. It's still black and green with a little bit of white in there. I think it does look a little better. Certainly the Minardi livery from 1995 and 96 had a green front and rear wing, and that's exactly what is on this car. So it will change going into season 2. Not going to say what it's going to be just yet, but we are sort of following the trend of Minardi liveries from the past. And I think it is slightly better and slightly closer to what Minardi had in 95 and 96, because they ran pretty much the same livery. And Nick De Vries will now carry on his merry way. So enough about him, let's focus on us. A few lap times have already been set out there. Just looking at the weather, as you can see, for FP3, rain throughout, so we will not be running, absolutely pointless. So then, track acclimatisation, tyre management, fuel management is all done. Whilst we're here, I might as well show you the car setup that I've been sort of fiddling away with. Fuel doesn't really matter, we're going to be doing practice programmes. So the aerodynamic, I started off at 2.4, I'm now running 3.5. Feels okay, we're sort of 13th or 14th in the speed trap when usually we're down at the very bottom. So a slight improvement there in straight line. Car's a little slow and clunky around 2 Lesmo corners at the top of the circuit and also through Ascari. And well, to be honest, through every corner really, it doesn't feel particularly brilliant. So I might bump it up to 4.5 just to see how we get on there. Transmission 55-55. Suspension geometry to the right, to the left for camber and toe. Suspension 5.3-6.5-4.4. I'm going to bump that up to 5.4. Brakes 154. Tyre pressures. A 1 click down for the front rights, front and rear rights. 2 clicks down for the front and rear left. So we're still modifying and adapting it as we go. We had a couple of R&D objectives for the 2 new chassis upgrades. They've both passed. We've also managed to do 3 of the team objectives.
Engine temperatures, press the MFD button to open the multifunction display, and then press it again to cycle through till you reach the temperature information screen.
And I forgot to mute Jeff, but never mind, doesn't really matter too much. So we can do the qualifying pace program, and if we're fast in sector 1 and sector 3, we can complete all the team objectives. We've got the race strategy in the ERS management one to do. We might as well go out there and do, I think, the ERS management one straight away, and we'll drive out of the garage.
Mechanics, please stand clear.
So we've got 2 DRS zones here at Monza. This is one of them, leading down to the Ascari chicane. Just moving over to let Nick through. P7 of him at the moment. The second one is down the main straight, so just 2 DRS zones here. The Ascari chicane here, you can cut what the hell is cut quite nicely there. I'm going to stay away a little bit from the inside curve because the car does oversteer a little bit down there. So we'll just allow Nick to pull a bit more of a gap on us, and now we'll give the ERS management a go. Hopefully we can do it first time.
Okay, test complete, and that was a
Nicely done. Nicely done.
information out of that.
Up into P3 in the session as well, just 1.2 off of Hamilton. So yeah, that is done at the first time of asking. And now we've just got the qualifying practice program and the race sim program to do as well. If we can get both of them done in purple as well, very nice, profitable 2 practice sessions. Hopefully it's enough for purple. We'll be 4.5 temps up. It's only green. We can try and go again, but I think the tyres have already gone at this point. So we're coming across the line now. This will be easily in the green, 3 green laps, and we have completed the race strategy program. I won't do the final 2 laps, just to save a bit of energy. Where you can see we have a tyre graph as well, 19, call it 20% for argument's sake after 4 laps. So maybe 8 laps can be achieved in the race before these tyres start to struggle somewhat. But we'll head back to the pits now. We'll have a time to run out, see where we end up at the end of FP2. So we end the session in P7. Neither myself or Hamilton managed to improve our lap time, so that's okay considering that was set on the qualifying pace programme. Disappointed that we couldn't get purple. If we found maybe another couple of attempts, it would have put us probably up into P3. But yeah, so I'm happy with the fact that we managed to get a lot of the resource points done. I'm getting more settled with the setup now. I sort of know where my braking points are and how to tackle the first 2 chicanes, the Lesmos and the Ascari and Parabolica, because they're the only real corners on this circuit. We're fast and straight line, don't get me wrong. It's a bit of a challenge around the corners, obviously running a very low downforce, but I've got on top of it. I'm feeling confident going ahead. So I'll have a look at Nick De Vries. He finished last in the session but was running the medium tyres. Yeah, I mean, Russell was 1.2 seconds clear, so maybe with that initial boost of speed we were seeing from Nick De Vries has gone away a little bit. But I'll make the change over to the super duper units that we've got now for FP3, which I won't be running in, of course, so I'll be back with you guys before the qualifying session. So plenty of resource points out there, 621 from me, 185, puts up to 2,866, probably our most profitable weekend so far. 18% for me, 14 for Nick De Vries, combined total of 32%. So back in the workstation, of course didn't run in FP3, it was wet throughout. 2 other drivers didn't go out on circuit either, George Russell and Esteban Ocon, who were actually classified in P20. So we've got some messages in, performance comparison, and obviously, well, we read that I think already, and obviously there's some information, or some blurb I should say, about the circuit. Driver details don't need to look at that. RNG don't need to look at that. Obviously we're now making a change, I believe. Are we going to make the change onto units number 4? It is still pending, so that's fine. Oh, hold on, if we go to that, no, then we need to do that, don't we? So that's all pending, that's all fine. I've also ordered a new practice gearbox, as it's now at 23%, but that doesn't change anything. It just means we have a fresh gearbox for FP1 and FP2 at the next event. If you ain't gearbox 10%, that's fine. Of course, you didn't run in FP3, so it saved a little bit over there as well. So we're taking some nice units into the race, or qualifying and the race at least. Nice and sunny conditions in both sessions, so we'll advance now to qualifying and see where we end up at the end of that session. So we've got Mercedes just going past us out of the pit lane, nearly a minute and a half into the session. You can see there's a handful of cars out there, including Nick De Vries. So we've got 4 sets of soft tyres to try and burn through. I'm not going to change anything on the car setup other than drain obviously a little bit of fuel out. All the new units hopefully should be onto the car once we leave the garage. So that's what we'll do. We'll go out there for our first timed lap around Monza. Target is, of course, is to at least be in P19. Pretty confident that we can do it. Cars felt nicely balanced, certainly through FP2. Here we go. So coming out of Parabolica, we lost time in the first sector because the car was coming out the pits in front of us. But the rest of that felt okay, to be honest. We're just 4 tenths off of Danny Kvyat, and we are ahead of De Vries and Latifi. So I can definitely find some time in Sector 1. But Sector 2 and Sector 3 felt okay, to be honest with you, so I think we'll improve, but we might struggle a little bit. Just allow Gasly through. Slow tour back to the pits. So about 9.5 minutes left of the session. Oh wow, Leclerc and Hamilton set the exact same lap time. Look at that pole position. There's nothing between them. So the track is starting to get a little emptier. So we'll go out for our second run. Currently sitting in P18. We're exactly a tenth away from Giovinazzi and almost 2 tenths away from Lance Stroll. We're just ahead of Grosjean. We're comfortably ahead of Nick De Vries, Russell and Latifi. So as Jeff is chatting away, we've selected a new set of tyres and we'll be going out on the circuit. It's coming out of Parabolica. We're losing a bit of time on exit, but I think we'll be about 3 tenths up on our previous, so we have found that time that we lost up into P14. Not bad. So nearly time to go up for our third and final one. The same for everyone else out there as well.
So far is a 1 minute 20.6.
Indeed it is. We're very even with everyone across all three sectors where we are at the moment. We find another 10th, it will put us ahead of Ocon. Find another 2 tenths, we could be inside the top 10. It's going to be very, very close, to be honest. I think we do have to go out again and do try to find a bit of improvement out there. Even if we improve by half a tenth, I think we still be looking to be in a decent grid spot. 3 at the back obviously aren't going to challenge us. So we've got on the third set of soft tyres.
Second in the speed trap, 213.0 miles per hour.
Yep, I'm fine with that. I don't really care. Let's get out there then for a third and final one. Okay, here we go. Can we find a little bit more time? That's looking good, really good. We're nearly 3 tenths up. P14, yeah, that felt like a very nice final lap. Nearly 3 tenths up, but Leclerc takes pole position in front of the Tifosi at Ferrari's home race. Hamilton, Bottas second and third. Verstappen, Vettel and Perez has managed to get past Albon into P6. And it's Ocon, Gasly and Norris inside the top 10. We end qualifying in P14. That, to call it 2.5 tenth improvement, put me all the way, I fell all the way back to 18th during that lap, and managed to get back up into the P14 that we wanted to be, ahead of Kvyat, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Stroll down in 18th, Grosjean, Russell in 20th, almost a second away from us. Nick De Vries was over a second slower than us, and Latifi was 1.8 seconds slower than us. So we're going to be clear of these 3 guys, and we could be in for an interesting battle with those in the midfield. But P14 in outright pace at Monza with its long straights and high speeds is a very, very good result. So while we break down, Ricciardo yet again out qualifies us, and the chance of beating him as our rival is slowly starting to slip away. 11 to 16. We need him to retire from a race really to have any chance. 18% and 14% for myself and Nick De Vries. 32% again combined for the team, slowly creeping our way up to a higher level. So back at the workstation before we go into the race. 27 laps. I think it will pass quite quickly. Hey, hope you slept well last night, because I expect it's going to be pretty intense out there. Yes, indeed. Certainly down at the first chicane. At the start as well, everyone sort of fights for their own bit of real estate, trying to get slipstream in a tow with everyone else, and then everyone slams on the brakes going down to the heavy braking zone for the first chicane. So there could be a bit of a few incidents down there. Hopefully we manage to keep it relatively clean and out of everyone's way. Nothing to change really. We're on to the big powerful units as you would expect us to run in qualifying and the race, and we'll be starting from at least P14, but we'll go now have a look at the race build up, the grid formation as well, to see if anyone around us has any penalties, and then the all-important race strategy screen.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6 mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? They need second or better to ensure they stay in contention for the title. Anything outside of that and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep in the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if you just try and do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to your usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Perez, Albon, Ocon, Gasly and Lando Norris, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Daniel Ricciardo, Lee, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen and Lance Stroll, Grosjean, Russell, De Vries and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So that's the introduction done and the grid formation. Nobody has any penalties to remain where we qualified in P14. So the race strategy, softs on to mediums. Yeah, I think that's what we'll try and do, at least. Might be a bit difficult. If there's an earlier safety car, you'll probably go onto the hard tyres. That'll get us comfortably to the end. I think it's going to be quite difficult to do 11 laps. I think the most I did in the practice session on the set of soft tyres was 5 laps, and they was in the low 20s, which means they're going to be mid 40s by lap 10, which is when I do start to struggle on them. But we'll stick with the selected strategy anyway. As for fuel, EOS and fuel burn is going to be quite high, I think, around a circuit like Monza. So we'll start with 2 laps worth of extra fuel and see how we get on with that. So yeah, okay, that's the strategy we'll go with. 38-minute race, apparently it's going to take, roughly. So we'll start the formation lap. Chance of a safety car is probably high, to be honest. We're right in the midfield here, in P14. Home race, so good to get a nice qualifying in there.
Okay, how was the pull away? You'll have a bit more grip than that on the start, but we need to warm the tyres properly now. Make sure you get some heat into the brakes as well.
So I think it'll be a fairly quick formation lap, to be honest. These guys don't really hang around too much on the formation lap. Turn 1 really is going to be the tricky zone. It's going to be very crucial to keep it clean, of course. Get through turn 1, maybe gain a position or 2. And we can see how the race develops. 27 laps, we will go pretty quickly here, to be honest.
No rain expected for the time being.
So no rain coming in there from Jeff. We know that there will be a little bit of cloud cover at the very end of the race, but in terms of actual wet weather running, it's not going to happen. It's nice to be starting this high up. This is legit pace as well in qualifying. We didn't luck our way into it. There's no grid penalties out there that have boosted us. P14, and we're very close to it. It was only about 1.1 off of pole. Come back round out of the parabolica onto the main straight. AI car takes over control, and we're starting on the inside, so that's ideally where I want to be, really. Into our grid spot then, we've got an Alfa Romeo and a Renault ahead of us. We've got an Alfa Tauri and the second Alfa Romeo of Raikkonen behind us. Let's pray for a clean start. Not bad initial launch. Giovinazzi absolutely sent it. And he got a yellow flag out there for something. I'm to P12 though. So he kept it clean. Big done around the outside by Ricardo. Someone's tapped me from behind as well. It sent me off into the gravel. Let's get our defensive shoes on here against Sainz.
That's a decent start.
Squeeze him out. I want to get back up to the guys in front of us. I want to be in that DRS train. Get right through Ascari. There's a bit of a block going on up ahead. I can only assume it's Giovinazzi who gained a load of positions by absolutely sending it up the inside. There was a yellow flag at turn 1. I believe it is Giovinazzi at the head of the field that's sort of holding people up. Well, that's lap 1 completed at least, up to P13. Let's see what we can do from here.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
There we go then, DRS is now being enabled. Oh, not a good line there through the first chicane. Need to push a little bit, try and catch up with these guys ahead so we can get the DRS. That will keep us with them. Slipstream and DRS is so important around here. Side by side of working into Ascari, which is not what I want to be doing because I'm losing time to the cars in front. We just about managed to stay ahead, and I think we might just be about in the DRS range as well. So important here to be in the slipstream. And we did get it. Lap 5. Okay, Gasly's struggling here. And he's lost a toe ahead as well. So we might have an opportunity here.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Up the inside. Through into P12 and past Gasly. It's going to be difficult now to try and catch up to Ricardo. He's 2 seconds up the road. And I've got Gasly going to try and come back at me here. So we're pushing everything. Okay, coming out the Parabolica to start lap 8. The soft tyres, as you can see there, 45% is the highest on the wear rates. Oh, we've got a safety car out.
5 seconds. Okay, the safety car
Wow,
is
that
out.
was...
The safety
that's...
car is out. We need to form
Oh,
up
what's happened down here? Hamilton's had a big off. Hamilton's had a big crash there.
to keep it positive. They're retiring from the race.
Wow, okay, the back markers... Oh, right. Okay, Hamilton's out. Okay, we've got a delta time to stick to. Nick De Vries has managed to jump into the pit, so he's very lucky. In fact, the Haas, Williams and Nick De Vries managed to pit at just the right time. We're going to be pitting now for a set of the hard tyres. Absolutely.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Jeff has given me a strategy option change. It is... Right, it says mediums, but we're not doing that. We're going to go into the hard tyres. There we go.
Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta is negative.
Wow, all kicked off there, didn't it?
Reduce your pace.
Box this lap.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits
Right,
at the end of this
that's
lap.
all confirmed. Something obviously happened to Hamilton there. He's clipped someone or something and he's crashed, and that's the championship leader out of the race. So we're going to be in the pits now at the end of this lap onto the hard tyres. I assume everyone else is going to be doing the same as well. If you don't, you're mad. I was just saying there that the soft tyres are pretty much knackered. So this is good for us then. Well, I don't know if it's going to be good for us. Grosjean's out of the race as well. Okay. So we've lost 2 drivers in the last lap. Into the pits we come now. Everyone else is going to be doing the same. Right, onto the hard tyres. should be able to get us to the end of the race. A few drivers are not pitting. Other thing to say as well, Perez has got an issue out of it. Well, that was a bit of an unsafe release, wasn't it? We had to come off the throttle. Perez has an issue out there in the racing point.
Exit now. You'll be racing as you leave the pits. Go now.
Oh, we've gained positions. Oh, we might have had an unsafe release there as well. Right, we're out in P10.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety car in this lap.
Okay, so safety car's in. A bit of an update, having looked at the race director. Stroll and Kvyat are P1 and P2. They didn't stop underneath the safety car, so they still need to. And Magnussen at the back of the field as well. Stopped, but on the soft tyres. He's going to have to stop again. So Magnussen isn't really our concern. And in theory, we are in a P8 here. Benefited again by the safety car. I'll take it. I'm just waiting now for when we can go again.
Okay, clear.
Oh, we've made a good start. Good restart, I should say. Oh, we got yellow flags. Don't know what for. We managed to get Perez out of the way. We have to defend it here.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that over.
Oh, straight on. So I'm on the hard tyres, unknown territory for me, I should say. Oh wow, lighting up the rears. Got loads of fuel. So you can see there, DRS is now being re-enabled after the safety car period. We're with Gasly. We're pulling away quite nicely as well from Perez and Raikkonen and everyone else behind. So I don't know if we'll be able to do any work on Gasly before the end of the race. As long as we stay with him and he keeps pulling us along nicely, be able to bridge that gap over everyone behind. But Perez definitely has an issue. He's now dropping back. We'll just focus on our own race. We're now coming into the second half of this race now. A lot's happened already. A lot, I assume, is still around the corner. So just coming down to the Parabolica to complete lap 16 of 27. Gasly's pulling me along quite nicely. Albon is now up to P9. And he is catching us a few tenths a lap. Really? Anyway, the issue he got though is he's sort of carrying everyone else or bringing everyone else along behind due to the DRS. Oh, deep on the old brakes there. Really struggling for traction out of the first chicane. Second chicane we're pretty good at. So I think Albon will slowly creep up on us. But the problem is he's bringing the rest of the midfield along with him. Made a mistake coming up the Ascari. And Albon is through.
Okay, focus. We need to stay on form.
Right, we're doing okay here. We can stick with Albon. Look at me in trouble here from Raikkonen. He's using all of his power. And that's us down to 10th. I'm starting to struggle now a little bit. We are exceeding expectations here by running in the points. We shouldn't be this high up. Oh, the car's an absolute pig for Ascari. Because our development is so bad on the chassis and the aero, we can't follow a car close enough for Ascari. And the car just understeers and oversteers so much. And now we're outside the points. Ricciardo with an easy pass past us. Well, hang on, no. There's only 5 laps to go.
Manage your tyres. lost some time to the car behind?
Yeah, you're telling me. He's just past me, mate. You watching the same race I am? Down to P12. So into the final lap now. We're safe from Norris behind. Unfortunately, we just can't get close enough to these guys in front of us. So unless anything amazing happens, we'll be bringing the car home in P12, which, to be honest, isn't a bad result. Qualified in 14th, finishing 12th. It's difficult when everyone sort of ends up on the same strategy because of a safety car. Because then you know you're in a bit of a dogfight and you're going to have faster cars behind you that will eventually catch and pass you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So underdeveloped is the Minardi car. I mean, we're only just ahead of Williams. But it'll be a finish, and a decent finish at our home race. Bottas wins. It's the only Mercedes in the race. Hamilton brought out of that safety car by crashing in the braking zone for the first chicane. What we've got to do now is just come through the parabolica for the last time. Plenty of fuel, ERS, all that jazz. Norris to catch us a little bit on the final lap, but it don't matter. It's a P12 in Italy. So there we go then, the final classification. Bottas won, just 2 tenths ahead of Leclerc. Verstappen completing the podium. Vettel, Ocon and Giovinazzi up there inside the top 6. Albon recovered well at the 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, Sainz 10th, getting ahead of Raikkonen in front of us with a couple of laps to go. So we end up in 12th place from 14th on the grid. 24.08 was our fastest lap, which is a few tenths slower than the people around us. So no surprise really to see us slip back outside of the points, which is a shame, but still a good race nevertheless. Norris, Perez was behind us, as well as Stroll and Kvyat, who decided to not pit underneath the safety car. Going for the mediums turned out to be the wrong strategy for them. Russell in 17th, Latifi 18th, Nick De Vries just behind him in 19th. Magnussen, who obviously had to pit again after the safety car, finished right up behind him, but back in 20th. We lost Grosjean under the safety car for whatever reason, and Hamilton was the reason for the safety car coming out. So the standings then, with 12 races done and 4 to go, Hamilton has a 34-point lead. He really could have extended his championship lead here. There's only 104 left to play for in theory, with the World Championship point for fastest lap. He only has a 34-point lead over Bottas, who's now up into second. Vettel is 46 behind, 56 behind is Verstappen, Leclerc and Albon 68-74. So all 6 of them can still theoretically, I think, win the title. We drop down into 13th thanks to Giovinazzi picking up a strong result for himself, and Raikkonen was oh so close there at the end, picking up his first point. In the Constructors, Mercedes 7, 80-point lead, 96 over Red Bull, so that is not yet done either. McLaren looking good originally in 4th place, but Renault are slowly starting to creep up on them. It's just 11 points between them. AlphaTauri having a strong season as well on 59 points, and Alfa Romeo with Giovinazzi's strong result puts him ahead of both Racing Points and ourselves. So we drop back down into 9th place. We've still got a comfortable gap over Haas and Williams, again, still yet to find a lucky result. So the Alfa breakdown, 4-2 against Ricciardo. Yeah, he's starting to slip away now. 20-13, 7 behind with 2 weekends remaining. It's pretty much not going to happen. 18% for me, 14% for Nick De Vries. He's now close to level 8. 32 again combined for the team. So we're getting close to level 13. Level 8 for Nick De Vries. And finally the cash then. We achieved all of our 3 secondary sponsors, which is good, $644,000. We gain an extra $40,000 from that as well, but a few damage deductions there, so up to $11.37 million. So then back at the headquarters, you can see the new livery on the car there, if you didn't get a good look at it in the practice sessions, or even when he was on board with me during qualifying and the race. We have almost a month then until the Japanese Grand Prix. There's going to be quite a few breaks now because there was quite a few races removed by me towards the end of the season. So one of the sponsors needs to be sorted out. It's our third one here. Looking at our primary sponsor though, just a quick update on that, $6.16 million just for completing the season, and the weekly income $588 $1,000 as well. Of course, that goes up every time our team acclaim does, so it's a nice healthy amount there. So let's have a look, Ben. We'll have a look at the we'll sort it by goal bonus, really. Right, so let's try and find something easy, because again, money is everything. Score 33 Constructors Championship points during the race weekend. My god, that's nuts. We need something relatively easy, of course. Complete a clean race. Score more points than the team directly above you in the vehicle performance comparison. That will be Haas. That's achievable. Answer at least 4 interview questions during the race weekend. Complete a weekend about colliding another vehicle. I'm not feeling too good about that. Answer at least 2 interview questions during a race weekend. Well, in fact, we do need something relatively easy. Earn driver of the day. We've done that twice already, but it doesn't matter. As a team, complete a total of 30 laps during practice with Novus. Achieve a fast lap during a race. Complete all practice programs in a weekend. Beat your rival during a race. Complete a race with no DNFs within the team. Well, Novus is quite good, to be honest. The goal bonus there is quite nice. It's a long contract though, so I don't know if I want a shorter contract. So maybe we'll go to length of contracts, or however long this one. So we'll go down to the shortest ones. Oh, well, okay, they're all 116. Okay, fair enough. So where was... let's try and have a look. Quest, I think, was okay. Weekly income 174. That's what I'm more interested in. Where was Novus, or whether it was? Was it Novus? Sort it out by name. Novus. I think it was Novus. It was Novus. As a team, complete a total of 30 laps during practice. Weekly income's a bit low, but the goal bonus is quite high. So that's the one that we'll sign with. Can we? Oh, we've already got them. Okay, we've already got Novus. Okay, so we'll go for something else that's quite easy. As a team, complete a total of 10 laps during practice. Do a tone, that's quite easy to do. Complete a race with no DNFs in the team. Come on, we've got to get this sorted out, really. Quest, we can go for Quest. As a team, earn complete a total of 100 laps during a race weekend. Alright, we'll give that go. We'll give that one a go. We'll give Satellite a go. That could be quite... That's quite an expensive one, actually. Gold bonus of 455,000. Weekly income of nearly $250,000. Okay, we'll add that sponsor. So we'll sign with Satellite. Right, and this is going to be a lot going on here. A hell of a lot going on here. Right, so we've got some messages straight away. Development's completed. High cash balance. I'd like to remind you that we spend some of the cash we're accumulating when you can invest in better facilities to try to attempt a more expensive job. That's your teammate. Okay, activities. We've got plenty of activities we can look at as well. So we've had some upgrades come into and onto the car. That would have been a durability upgrade. This is one. This one over here. I know that for a fact. So we've had another big durability upgrade. You can see it shotted right up there. These are predetermined upgrades that sort of arrive as and when, according to the season. So we've got another one on the 26th, another one on the 5th of October. So we'll have one of them before Japan. And you can see there the ultimate upgrade has really shot us right up to the top. The chassis, still second worst. Aerodynamic, second worst. Powertrain, we are the worst. So I think with the amount of money that we've got, let's have a look at any department. So chassis there, build time decreased by 9%, failure chance decreased by 4%. Aerodynamic is normal, powertrain is normal. So I think we should do some more work on the chassis department. We can spend a load of money over here on a couple of major upgrades. The monocoque structure. That will be hopefully a week before Japan. So updates to the structure of the monocoque result in a weight advantage if there's no sacrifice to strength. Cool, we'll get that upgraded. And I think we could be able to do this as well. We can. So the engine cover distribution. A newly designed engine cover provides a more symmetrical weight distribution without compromising any of its protection capabilities. Again, a week before Japan. That's good. We've got 801 left. We'll leave it just in case any of these departments, any of these upgrades do fail. We have 11.3 million, so you might as well have a look at the facilities. I really do want to think about 6, 10, 13 million. So we could probably maybe look at marketing. I think that'll probably be one department that we'll do less on. The aerodynamic and powertrain departments certainly need some work. 2.5, 2, 2, 2. Powertrain is 2.5, 2, 2, 2. So I think we'll work with the aerodynamic department. Spend a load of money here to get this all upgraded. So increase fabrication capacity to a maximum of 2 simultaneous developments. Okay, that's good. 12th of September. Build try increase the speed of your upgrades by 20%. Improve failure chance reduction by 10%. And increase the number of resource points this facility generates. Nice. Brings us down to just under 3 million. As for R&D, we've got a couple of major upgrades hopefully coming onto the car soon. Vehicle, this is all fine over here. The gearbox after that race is now at 17%. Corporate as well. You can see there that Nick De Vries is now a 75 rated driver. We could probably spend some more money on driver perks as well. In fact, no, I think we'll leave it actually at the moment. Finance history is all okay. Right, so we should probably have a look at some activities then. So weight training, obviously for Nick De Vries will do. Second driver PR filming, acclaiming resources for the driver and the cash. So that'll be for Nick De Vries, I think. Visit sponsor headquarters, the acclaim can go up there. To be honest, we might as well just do them all. Chassis team building, yep, that's fine. Durability department focus or chassis equipment upgrade. We'll look at the chassis department. So we've got a lot going on. So we'll advance the time now. So the weight training comes in for Nick De Vries. Second driver PR filming and the aerodynamics are now right up into level 1. Turbo size, visit sponsor headquarters, all coming in nicely. Chassis team building, chassis equipment upgrade, weekly resources and weekly running costs. So up to 4 million, 5.16 million actually. Season break lasting 3 days. Bit of a weird one that. So we'll start the season break now and we're straight back into it. Right, so facilities then, Spec 1 now and the aerodynamic department. R&D and progress, we've still got them both coming in, but I think we've had something else come in. It was a upgrade on the powertrain department, not too sure which one it is. We've got another one on the 12th of November and another one next season, but the durability, we know we've got one coming in on the 5th of October and the 26th of October. So again, we'll have a look now any activities that we can do. We can do a durability department focus, why not? It costs us no money. So again, we'll advance the time. So the department focus comes in there, that's nicely. Weekly resources and running costs. Okay, pause that. Yep. Yep, okay, right, so we've had one part pass and one part fail in the chassis department. So we can redevelop that now. It's going to arrive between Japan and the US Grand Prix. It's only going to cost us 550, so we can redevelop that. At the same time, we could probably get this one on the go as well. Horizontal shocks are absorbed more effectively, resulting in less tyre wear for the roll dampers. It's a minor upgrade. That will also arrive between Japan and the US Grand Prix, which leaves us with very little resource points. You can see we're already up to 6.3 million again, so we are generating quite a bit of money. We could probably get a powertrain department going at this point. 2.5, 2, 2 and 2 is 8.5 million. I kind of want to get it all done in one go, so we'll advance the time again. The general durability upgrade comes in, weekly resources as well, and the overall running costs, and now we can head to Japan. So up to 7.43 million. I'm sure that after this race, or certainly before the next one, we can get the powertrain department up to spec 1, and then maybe get marketing up to spec 1 as well. Get them all spec 1 and then start running away with spec 2. So I'll have a look at the corporate side of things and the driver market. Let's see where Nick De Vries is these days. He's now up to level 8 due to the recent work that we've done with him. He's worth 3 million, so we'll have to bear that in mind. He's now rated 76, and I think it's George Russell is the closest. 77 for George Russell. So we are trying to get Nick De Vries a little bit better. Finances are still looking good. Finance history a bit up and down recently with all the money spent. But yeah, that's pretty much everything now. Looking forward to Japan, round 13 of 16. So Italy itself was an okay event, to be honest. We was on the pace, we were competitive throughout. It's a bit of a shame that we didn't score any points towards the end, but still good progress to be had. We're updating all of the departments. Hopefully we'll get them all done before the end of the season. And we are slowly I don't really thinking about next season just yet. We've got to wait to see what the FIA say about any parts out there that need to be redesigned. But for now, we're just plugging away of getting everything in the headquarters sorted out anyway, focusing a lot of time on Nyck de Vries as much as we can, and doing a few R&D upgrades here and there. So hopefully we'll be a bit more competitive in Japan than we were at the previous few races. But thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.